That was a scene of panic in Hawaii yesterday after the state emergency system sent out this alert to mobile phones statewide. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. But that was a false alarm. Someone pushed the wrong button. There was no missile threat. It took a full 38 minutes for the state to issue a civil emergency message retracting the false alert. Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard joins us now. And Congresswoman, thank you for joining us this morning. As I just said, 38 minutes for the state to retract that false alarm. It only took you 12. You actually issued this tweet. Want to put it up on the board right there. Hawaii, this is a false alarm. There is no incoming missile to Hawaii. I have confirmed with officials there is no incoming missile. How did you get the truth? Walk us through what happened.
Well, you can only imagine, George, the panic, the terror, the chaos and confusion that ensued when over 1 million people in Hawaii, plus many visitors who are visiting Hawaii, got that alert on their cell phones, now understanding that they literally just have minutes, taking this threat seriously. They've got minutes to say goodbye to their loved ones, to find their loved ones, to try to find some kind of shelter somewhere, which there are no designated nuclear bomb shelters in Hawaii. I went through that same thing when I got that message on my phone, wondering where my family is, what they were doing. I immediately called Hawaii officials and civil defense, asked them what's going on here, and was told right away that there's no incoming missile threat. Someone pushed the wrong button. It was an
why did it take so long
mistake
for them to retract it?
Well, that's what we're still trying to get to the bottom of. It's absolutely unacceptable, and it's an epic failure of leadership. Yes, it was unacceptable that this went out in the first place, but the fact that it took so long for them to put out that second message to calm people, to allay their fears that this was a mistake, a false alarm, is something that has to be fixed, corrected, with people held accountable.
Are you confident this won't happen again?
We've got to do everything we can to make sure it doesn't, because there is so much at stake. You know, I got messages from people all across Hawaii throughout the day yesterday just detailing what they went through. You know, a father sent me a message saying that his 2 children were in 2 different locations, and he had to sit there and think which of his children he was going to choose to spend the last minutes of his life with. There were so many people who went through this stark reality that I hope the rest of the country, that I hope people in Washington, leaders in Washington pay attention to, that this threat of nuclear war, nuclear attack, is not a game. This is real. And this is what the people of Hawaii just went through yesterday morning.
Well, and that leads to the question now of what should be done about it. Do you believe that President Trump should be speaking directly to the leader of North Korea?
Absolutely, and immediately. This is something that I've been calling for a long time. I've been talking about the seriousness of this threat posed to the people of Hawaii and this country coming from North Korea. The people of Hawaii are paying the price now for decades of failed leadership in this country, of failure to directly negotiate, to prevent us from getting to this point where we're dealing with this threat today, setting unrealistic preconditions. And I've been calling for President Trump to sit across the table from Kim Jong-un without preconditions, work out the differences, figure out a way to build this pathway towards denuclearization, because there is so much at stake. The people of Hawaii recognized this yesterday, experienced it personally. The leaders of this country need to experience that same visceral understanding of how lives are at stake.
North Korea, Kim Jong-un says he's not going to give up his nuclear arsenal. Perhaps they could lead to talks of some kind of a freeze. But given that, do you think that we need to bolster the defenses of Hawaii?
We absolutely need to bolster our ballistic missile defense system, specifically for Hawaii and for this country. That's something on the Armed Services Committee that I have been and continue to work on doing. But I think it's also important, as we talk about how important it is that Trump directly negotiates with North Korea, we've got to understand why Kim Jong-un is saying he's not going to give up his nuclear weapons. Our country's history of regime change wars has led countries like North Korea to develop and hold on to these nuclear weapons because they see it as their only deterrent against regime change. And this is what's important for President Trump to recognize. It is critical that we end our policies of regime change wars to provide that credible guarantee that the United States is not going to go in and topple the North Korean regime so that these conversations can begin towards denuclearization.
Just to be clear, are you saying that Kim Jong-un's nuclear arsenal is our fault?
What I'm saying is that Democrat and Republican administrations for decades, going back over 20 years, failed to recognize the seriousness of this threat, failed to remove it. And we know that North Korea has these nuclear weapons because they see how the United States in Libya, for example, guaranteed Gaddafi, we're not going to go after you, you should get rid of your nuclear weapons. He did. Then we went and led an attack that toppled Gaddafi, launching Libya into chaos that we are still seeing the results of today. North Korea sees what we did in Iraq with Saddam Hussein, with those false reports of weapons of mass destruction, and now seeing in Iran how President Trump is decertifying a nuclear deal that prevented Iran from developing their nuclear weapons, threatening the very existence in the agreement that was made. So yes, we've got to understand North Korea is holding on to these nuclear weapons because they think it is their only protection from the United States coming in and doing to them what the United States has done to so many countries throughout history.
Was it a mistake for the United States to take out Gaddafi and Hussein?
It was, absolutely.
Congressman Gabbard, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.